RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Monday night live stream edition. Excited to be back. And a lot of activity happening nowadays. And of course, fear of inflation, from what we're being told, is the primary driving force behind it, if you believe that. But we're going to have some fun this evening. Looking forward to connecting and hanging out. And as more importantly, find out what's on your radar, what you're keeping an eye on. And then I want to definitely hear from everybody because there's a lot of stories happening out there. We can only get to so many in a short time frame. And so I'm going to rant less and give you a chance to let your voice be heard on this live stream. So as always, give me a call, 313-462-0027 when the phone lines are open, and then we can have some fun tonight. So let me check in via the chat real quick and acknowledge a couple people's presence for being here this evening. And then we will dive right into it and cover. I got about 6 or 7 articles that I wanted to touch on, the headline stories, and then share my 2 cents on them and let you guys do your own homework if you're interested. So computer's a little lagging behind, but I'll do the best I can and I'll make it work. So let's see, we got JoJo in the building, we got Gene, we got Inalawala, if I'm not saying that incorrectly. This is going to be some real stuff, definitely. We got Gio, Dollar Maine, okay. I'm butchering names out here. We got Luke, we got Jay, we got Midnight Green. Simon, it says, the Lord bless you, Mike. His face shine upon you and be gracious unto you and give you peace. His shalom blessings from Northern New Zealand. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you for tuning in. Silver Fruits, King D, Crypto King. What's up, my friend Iman? Okay, a fair amount of people here, man. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to hang out with me, and looking forward to hearing from you tonight. So definitely give me a call. Let's talk. I want to hear from you when the phone lines are open, because we're witnessing, as we're seeing here, the remaining days of the Federal Reserve note, aka the consumer dollar, because the Biden regime is going to take the dollar off the cliff. And so we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, let me make a couple of little announcements and whatnot. Want to make sure I encourage everybody, any first-time viewers, feel free to let me know where you're watching from via the chat. And I want to also make sure once my videos start loading, I can share with you. I want to make sure you guys connect. Too many tabs open. I want to make sure you guys know where to find us at. So if you click the link beneath this video here, you'll find the social media link. And on this page is all the places you can find RTD. I'd encourage you. You should definitely be connected to other alternative sources of channels wise, so that you can always stay in tune with your favorite content creators. And so I want to encourage you guys to go down to the 3rd tab, which is the Discord page. Join the Discord community so that you can share articles and videos from your favorite content creators and other information that you want to share with the community in this link here. And I'll grab those articles throughout the day for us to talk about in the evenings. And then also during the week, we do the live streams unfiltered, about 2 hours or so, where we just have unfiltered talk, and those are for Patreon. So I want to encourage you, if you're interested, become a member of the Patreon community for any amount contribution to the channel, and you can join us there. And then during the week, I share articles throughout the day on gold, crypto, you name it, as well as videos. So definitely visit rethinkingthedollar.com throughout the day so you can stay in tune. Okay. And so with that being the case, let's dive right into a couple articles here. And so, of course, primary subject matter of the day. A lot of headlines today have the words inflation along with fears inside of it. And so here's one here. It says world shares slide on inflation fears, commodity surge. And here's the twisted nature behind this. Commodities. And of course, commodities, when I hear the word commodities, I automatically think of metals in the form of gold, silver, and of course, copper. They're all right now doing relatively a nice bid, or more so showing the true value of money or monetary metals in particular in comparison to debt, i.e. the bonds that are, seeming to cause a little issues. And as well, we have the fiat currencies that are being completely weaponized. So when you see articles like this, or when I see articles like this, it makes me think of how important it is to have already made sure you've acquired a nice position with real money, so that you wouldn't be one out here trying to chase these metals as they become a little bit more scarce in nature or harder to find. And so here, if you thumb through the article here, it talks a lot about the bond markets. And so I think in Australia in particular, there was an event where due to their bond market over there is having issues. And of course, we're having the 10-year, which is the leading indicator, or it's a heavy indicator to use to kind of price in inflation in the economy. And of course, it's above, I think, 1.34%. putting pressure on the Federal Reserve to have to respond because, once again, the price of borrowing is becoming a little bit more expensive, and therefore it's going to create more of a issue for the Federal Reserve, because this week Jerome Powell is going to come out and he's going to have to jawbone or talk down all this activity in the bond market, because once again the Federal Reserve will be the buyers, holders, and the owners of these instruments, because once again not many people around the world have confidence that this current environment is something that you can invest in and actually be able to, save yourself and protect yourself. So a lot of issues there is going to be a problem. So I can dive through it further, but I'll take a lot more time. But you guys get the hang of it. Here's another article here that if it loads up, we can talk about as well, because it talks about the tech sector and how, of course, S&P, the primary 6 indicators happen to be the FANG stocks for the most part, and they took a little bit of a dive today. But I think in the aftermarket, they increased a little bit. But it says U.S. equities, tech stocks slammed as inflation fears mount. So we're going to hear a lot more about this inflation fears, all due to the fact the 10-year yield climbed another 2.6 basis points to 1.37% and is now 45.7 basis points higher this year. Wall Street analyst worries a move above the 1.5 level will cause stock market dislocations, or better said, a stock market correction. And so we're going to have the realistic nature of how heavily manipulated and controlled this economy and this narrative of a so-called recovery really is, because the bond bubble is bursting at the same time they're trying to keep the stock markets inflated and all the other assets that they've pumped all this funny money into also relatively high. So it's going to be some give or take in that pretty soon. And of course, I'm just thumbing through the titles here. Feel free to dive further for yourself if you're interested. But here's something I thought worth mentioning. It's out of order, but the 100 million mark. And so it looks like the current administration is looking to up the ante a little bit on trying to get more jabs into the arm. And so we can expect more of a push on fear and the need of getting this vaccination program rolled out there. At the same time, I think they're losing the narrative rather, of them being safe and effective, because more people, thank goodness, are questioning whether or not they actually want that in their body or actually need it in their body. And so expect to hear more propaganda, more mainstream spiel talking about the need to, play your part and be patriotic by getting that jab in your arm. Don't trust these people. They will lead you straight to the slaughter. Anyway, here's another one here. This is an article I would encourage everyone to read. I read through this one, and it's very telling, because the last administration, President Trump, they built up a nice stockpile of reserves, I believe primarily for the, I think the 13C, if I'm not mistaken, those lending windows as backstops and collateral for all the programs that the Federal Reserve might have been looking to use to provide liquidity for the financial institutions. And of course, now it looks like Janet Yellen will be looking to drain that 1.6 trillion of reserves in the TGA account, at the same time that they are also not going to be issuing a lot of short-term debt, which creates a hiccup in the current system, because it's going to provide more cash into the system. At the same time, there will not be enough government debt on a shorter term to be able to purchase if they're not issuing more debt. So we're going to run into some issues, because it's going to provide more liquidity into the banking sector than they actually want to hold on to. So it's going to cause a lot of problems, because once again, the central banks are only able to create reserves that are for the commercial banks, but the commercial banks they're flushed with cash, and they're going to have to start doing something with that pretty soon. And a lot of people are anticipating more of the liquidity that has been created, approximately of the 5 or 6 trillion or so, to be leaked into the mainstream economy, causing, i.e., price increases, better known as what they say inflation. So something worth taking a look at if you guys are interested, but yet you can just Google all these and dive deeper if you're interested. And then here we have U.S. Treasury Secretary floats the idea of a digital dollar maintained by the Fed. And so we've been talking about the Fed coin or the Fed Now account, which was all put into the Banking for All Act that was initially slated to be rolled out, or if it had passed in January 1st, they were supposed to have everybody with a wallet. And it looks like Yellen is on board with the idea of researching and investigating the idea of putting a digital currency or rebranding the current digital dollar into a crypto blockchain style approach where everybody would get a wallet and the Fed will issue it directly. So just the fact that she's supporting the idea now lets us know that it's coming sooner or later. And let me give you an idea as to why. It mentions about the need to get money into the hands of the poor and less fortunate for financial equality. And so that's one thing they're going to try to continue to push. And then this Friday, we have the House will be voting on this 1.9 trillion, which will more than likely get passed. And some of the things inside of it, of course, is a play on providing more fiscal support to mainstream economy, while the more important thing is providing $350 billion to the states because of pensions and all those things that are becoming problematic. But as you guys can see here, $400 per week unemployment and insurance through August 29th. That's a pretty hefty penny there. Extension of pandemic era programs expanding job benefits to gig workers, self-employed. And that other part of your stimulus check might be coming for those that are expecting it. 1,400 direct deposits. And what else? The relief. So you might get paid to have kids or to have had kids. 3,600 per child over a year. Increasing the minimum wage within a 5-year time span. $20 billion for vaccination programs and those camps. $107 billion for schools, and of course everything else. So that's some other stuff here. And then here's another article, and I'm gonna stop ranting and get to the phone lines as well as check in. But I want to just show you guys here what caught my attention, and it has to do with Janet Yellen and Steve Mnuchin. It says this is Janet Yellen today in regards to talking about the digital dollar and it being something viable to consider. It says, it makes sense for central banks to be looking at this, at issuing sovereign digital currencies, Yellen said. She said a digital version of the dollar could help address hurdles to financial inclusion in the U.S. among low-income households. So once again, they're painting this as being something that the people can use and need, if you believe that, but yet it was already baked into the cake. Can the bull markets and stocks survive rising inflation, bond yields? Here's what history says. And so once again, we're in this great experimental unraveling, and they're breaking records or setting records of all kinds. And then here's some more information here about the rising yields, which basically makes it a little bit more pricey for Uncle Sam to continue to do what it do if it has to pay more. And so, yeah, man, these are some headlines here. And of course, Bitcoin took a dip today. It went down extremely quick, but came back even faster. So I think I heard something about it being one of the biggest dips that recovered in such a short time frame. And you got to remember, central banks at this point are already buying the dips. They're trying to create these dips, but it's becoming harder given that so much institution interest has come about to where it's only the sky's the limit now in comparison to where this is going to go, because central banks are already in it. And I'd imagine you guys can believe that and understand that. So, all right, enough of me ranting. I can go on and on, but I don't want to. I want to talk to you guys. So for those that are dialed in, man, give me a call. Let's talk. Let me get the phone lines open. I want to hear from you. Share your 2 cents on any of these issues here or whatever else is on your radar, because I think there's a lot of things happening right now. We can't get to it all, but we're going to do the best we can. And, of course, come Thursday, the 24th, we're going to have what could be the great paper silver unraveling with this whole Wall Street silver movement and trying to squeeze out the bullion banks and put pressure on them by drawing as much physical as possible. It's going to be some interesting events this week already. And one thing that got me excited, and I'm going to stop ranting because I see a call coming, or I missed a call. But what is extremely exciting is right here. Let me show this on the screen. Man, I got too many screens open. Let me close a couple windows here. But here's something that's extremely exciting. $28 silver. Oh, look at that. And once again, over the last 2 weeks, we've witnessed, the markets open up strong. There's a sell-off, and they come right back very quick. So once again, we're seeing the same type of behavior in the crypto space where you can create out a fear and do all the paper dumping you want. But because the demand for physical is so strong that the pressure's on them, and it's hard. They're struggling to keep this manipulative activity going, which is a good thing. But it also, once it goes beyond its 30 point, apparently from a lot of people, it will be very unobtainable and unaffordable. Anyway, all right, let me get here. I'm getting excited. I'm getting too excited. A lot of activity going on here. So I apologize for missed calls. Give me a call. Let's talk. and I got a couple super chats. I apologize. Mrs. Yellen, baby blood pressure wants more silver from Mr. LBP. All right, let's get to some calls. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name's E-Man from the Street Silver. So go ahead and follow, guys. It's a good community. I had a question. Well, not really a question, but more of a comment.
Okay.
Because I'm sure you heard about Kansas and how they changed their they're reallocating their treasury to Oh no, I think that was Utah.
Awesome.
I don't know. One of those.
So Wyoming, Wyoming, I think it's
Sorry?
HR7, HB7, HR7 in Wyoming was like last week. I think it was made officially announced, and then Kansas as of also, yeah.
It's exciting because I don't know how many people know this, but we go to war over this kind of stuff. Like the reason why we got rid of Gaddafi and a lot of other leaders is because they try to get around the petrodollar with gold.
Right.
So what's going to happen when the states start to do that? You know, like what are they going to do? I have a feeling that they might come after the Redditors, the people on the forums, like these social media. They're going to blame us. They're going to say, oh, we're going to have to protect the dollar from the speculators the same way that Nixon did it in 1971.
Yeah, it's possible. Of course, there always has to be a blame pointed somewhere. So never underestimate the fact that they can say that it was, they can actually pull the plug on a system by cutting some things off or really unraveling things and blame it on the Russians, because that's America's favorite, person to point, and as well as China. So they could also use that card as well, because Wall Street Bets movement it's newer and it's not really nothing that you can really pinpoint. You can't pinpoint a lot of individuals. You can just basically shut down retail investor and all those apps or whatnot, which I don't think they'll do, but they'll blame it on somebody international because they need more than one country involved. So they're going to need, some type of event where Europe joins in and stuff like that. So that'll be stuff that I would assume, but perhaps they're wanting this to happen because they're ready for the digital transformation by tokenizing all the equities markets and stuff. So mind you, all this digital stuff is a part of their plan. So, it's one thing to think you're getting rich in crypto, but remind you, they want you here because they position us at this moment for this. So there's also, on the flip side, they have plans as well, whoever they are. So, but
I want to say before I hang up, Wall Street Silver, Wall Street Bets, Redditors, whatever you want to call them, because everybody wants to give credit to Wall Street Bet, even though they didn't even give us the voice. They're all saying, "Oh, we're boomers and shit." Anyways, retail may not be able to buy up all the supply, but they can knock over the first domino that's going to trickle down to the wholesale, and then the wholesale is going to trickle down to the national level. Yeah. Where countries are going to be fighting over this shit. I think it's already at that level.
Right, I'd agree.
Where countries are starting to.
Yeah.
Man.
Hey,
all right.
Well, appreciate you, my man. Thanks for calling in.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, and so here's the thing, countries and central banks, I think it was back in 2016 or so, when everybody was looking to repatriate their gold or whatnot. That was the beginning of the whole scramble to get physical. And of course, once the whole Basel III, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or Basel III, where banks were able to hold gold physically on their balance sheets as a tier 1 asset equal to the Federal Reserve note and other currencies. So once that happened, that was when that's when everything really began. And this is all a build-up for now. But the retail investors may not be able to completely overturn all the 100 and something years of manipulation. But at this current moment, it's about being able to preserve and protect yourself financially as best you can. So the fact that a lot of new people are coming into this space as far as being interested in getting silver is a good thing. So you can't save everybody, but you can protect yourself and those that might be closest to you. So at this point, that's all you can pray for. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm in Kansas.
How you doing, man? What's on your mind tonight? Talk to me.
Hey, I just want to touch on a couple of things. I appreciate you sharing that video earlier about what Kansas trying to do.
Yes.
Because that's where I'm at. And I've been stacking for a couple of years or whatever. Like when I'm gonna order my shit online, I don't pay sales tax.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but not only that, but I recently found out like a couple months ago that we can get silver from our bank. Like you
Really?
can just go straight into the bank and buy silver eagles and gold eagles straight from the bank.
So literally like you're like the too big to fail banks like a Wells Fargo or what type of, you mind sharing with us a bank
Oh,
chain
not
that
even
you?
that. I'm in a small town. Like it's only like 30,000 people where I live. That's just like commercial banks, like
Yeah, really.
local banks.
So you
Yeah.
that's okay. So you went into your bank before and bought actual American Eagles.
Straight up American Eagle. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's real. So that's yeah. I'm not aware of that, or I haven't ever even thought about doing that
Well,
here because I don't
neither,
think it's
yo.
available.
Yeah, but yeah, I also wanted to say that I appreciate you sharing that,
Yes, sir.
and
My pleasure.
shit, I hope it goes through because I tell a lot of people recently, I know people in the stock market, I know a lot of people in crypto, not a lot of people in metals,
Yeah.
and they just kind of ask like, what you got metals for? You can't use them for anything, but I mean, like if you got a stockpile of metals, you can easily take them to the coin shop and.
Yeah.
Like our pawn shop, whatever, you can get a loan towards that. You know what I mean? You can pawn them until you need the money, come back and get it.
Yeah. And also,
So I mean,
it's basically an insurance in its current time frame against your national currency. So that's like saying, what's the point of having life insurance? You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna never need it. How do you know? You know what I'm saying? It's there
Yeah,
in
you don't
case
need
you
it
need
till you
it.
need it.
And it's for your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? When you pass on, type of thing. But hey, man, I appreciate your call, my friend.
all right, man.
Be good. Thank you. Yeah, man. Good stuff. Appreciate that. JBW, appreciate the love offering. It says silver and gold are both used for off-world technologies, and gold is said to have interdimensional properties. Okay. And so silver as well. Like I've heard a lot of new technology will be rolling out sooner or later that require silver. And just to show you how important metals are at this current moment, beyond the medical standpoint, the monetary standpoint, you just think about the fact that every appliance you have, every electronic you have, everything that you use the most, phones, computers, cell phones, whatever, has silver in it for sure. And you remove that changes the game. And that's why I think the use case for silver beyond just the monetary properties are far more important from a long-term perspective than anything digital could ever be. And so that's just my 2 cents there. But anyway, feel free to give me a call and let's talk. So I see a lot of Wall Street Bet silver activity in the chat there. It says, RTD, you missed debt and regret super chat. Thank you, TB. I apologize for that. On my side here, I lose the... Let me see, low blood pressure. So I lose, so I can't go back. I can only go so far back on this software I have here, but let me go back on the other monitor and I'll acknowledge that. Appreciate you. Dead and regret, it says Bitcoin took a massive 60% flash dive in 3 minutes, heavily correlated to the S&P. No doubt. Dead and regret, I appreciate that. And that's one of the things where at this current moment, because of what's happening in the debt markets and with currencies, they're going to have a lot more flash crashes, but they'll get shorter and shorter. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike from Chicago. How you doing tonight, Mike?
I'm doing good, my man. What's on your mind tonight?
I got a question for you.
Give it to me.
I don't know if you remember or not, but there was an article that came out. And it stated that a lot of companies, like Tesla, was moving from California to Texas,
Yeah.
and also in New York, they moved the stock market, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but the servers moved them.
Mhm.
Wall Street servers. Do you remember where they moved them to?
Nothing's coming to mind. So, if anybody out there in the community, is familiar with the answer to this question, let us know in the chat, because I don't think I've heard about that one myself, but, continue on.
Well, the article said that they were moving the servers to Texas.
To Texas. Interesting. That I didn't know.
And they just had that blackout in Texas.
So you're putting the dots together, huh? Things aren't lining up for you, huh?
Where's my tin hat?
I hear you, man. So yeah, so that's a whole nother angle there that makes sense to me, man. So if that is the case, if that pans out, then of course it leads to more suspicion as to what's really going on here, man. Okay,
I just wanted to share that with you.
appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in. All right, be good. Yeah, man, good stuff. So once again, like, this mainstream narrative is always one thing, but the truth is a whole nother ballpark. But here's that Bitcoin dip that Carl is referring to here. So you can see right in the middle, we had a little bit of a slight correction here where it went down to looks like, according to here, 49 or something. I heard it was set 47, but that boy popped up quick. And of course, it's trending down now. But once again, and that's where, correction, crash, whatever, at this current moment, because of the currency, because of the amount of debt instrument that's coming into existence, it has to go looking for somewhere to hide. And it's going to hide, and of course, the number one cryptocurrency, but it's going to hide in all the other opportunities as well. So, yeah, man, it's getting interesting. But what it's going to mean for you and I is that all the everyday things we need, food, shelter, water, you name it, utilities, will end up reflecting this currency creation that will be unleashed on all of us. And it's basically like, you can get wealthier in crypto, but you're going to end up taking a lot of those gains and using it to pay for your everyday life. So it's all going to go up together. But of course, those that have been protecting themselves will have a lot more to ride this wave up, whereas in the majority that were not able to get out of the fiat currencies fast enough will be the ones that will not have that much of an option. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Alan from North Carolina.
Alan from North Carolina. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Yes, retirement accounts. Can you just tell me if that money would be safe in there if during a currency collapse?
Once again, I'm just speaking based upon my opinion. I have no factual evidence other than using history as prior examples to come up with this current conclusion. But based upon all prior events, when it comes to the end of a national or fiat reserve currency, i.e. the dollar, at some point between now 5-10 years, the Federal Reserve note will no longer be looked at as a reserve currency. Therefore, anything in the form of an asset denominated in that currency will be subject to revaluations. And therefore, all the promises that, pensions, retirement funds, Social Security, all those, promises will have to be adjusted somehow in one way or another, because the amount of inflation that will be brought into existence as a result of the monetary base expanding will never be able to catch up to the true level of inflation. So therefore, you might get paid something, but it will never be enough to live at the same pace of what you're living now, in my opinion. And so, like, good examples will be Venezuela, Zimbabwe. I've interviewed people before who their pensions and their retirements were just inflated away because, if your life insurance policy is $500,000, but you got Boulevard notes now that are $500,000, that cancels it out right there. So, in all those companies that made those promises to you, they never readjust and take into account inflation in those contracts. They just say it's a natural event. We couldn't, and the force majeure stuff comes into play where they wipe it clean, and there you go. That's all my opinion, though.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate the call. And it's one of the things where it's never, saying stuff like that is never comfortable, because I think the retirement concept was primarily introduced to get people to give up their best years up front with the hopes of being able to get something in return in the latter part. But the goal was ultimately always to get your time, your talent, your skills up front to benefit them. That's a big major part of capitalism. And so, unfortunately, we saw the pension system unravel. The 401k came about in 1975-ish. It was an experiment, and now we're witnessing how now where they're telling you need to put aside, some astronomical amounts of money that people are not able to put aside. So, hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Astronomical amounts of money.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good, my friend.
I wanted to ask you a question if you saw this video.
Go ahead, give it to me.
Hang on, I'll look it up on YouTube because I forget the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it was off the Wall Street Bet Sober community.
Mm-hmm.
How he was basically saying that Bitcoin, most of their transaction all has to do with Tether.
Yeah.
That it can basically Tether's under investigation for all that.
Yeah.
I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Great point. And so, of course, once again, Tether, which was the first and the number one stable coin market cap wise, it's the whole entity, Bitfinex, Tether, the whole ring there. A lot of questionable activity, and so a lot of people are saying that Tether they've been illegally, basically printing tethers to buy Bitcoin directly because it's usually the first on ramp that people use from fiat to Tether to Bitcoin. And so they're saying that Tether, I guess in the next less than 30 days, the SEC or New York Attorney General, they're going to come out with their verdict on this whole SEC investigation stuff with Tether. And a lot of people are using that as a way to say that if they come out and prosecute Tether and try to, basically expose all the corruption and fraud and money printing there, it could bring down the entire Bitcoin market. But at this current moment, because of all the publicity and the institutional funds coming in, there will probably be a correction if it turns out that way. But I don't think at this current moment it will unravel the push towards going digital in the form of Bitcoin and whatnot. So it could create a hiccup, but I don't think it'll bring it down. So, and once again, I think Tether is out there printing coins for fun. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, from what I understand from the video, I'm not like an expert on Tether or anything, but it seems like a lot of the transactions all had to do with Tether, and they're basically just printing them all. It's basically counterfeiting USD because they're saying they're backed by it.
Right.
So I think there could be a huge crash if that actually happened.
Yeah, it's possible, and I think it could be because they've been investigating for a while now, and it keeps getting put off, and there's all types of reasons why it never actually develops into anything. But I think this current environment we're in now, it might be time for them to use this as a way to really try to have that last big correction or crash to try to create as much fear as possible to provide fear so institutions do not want to get involved, therefore providing them more time to continue to manipulate and control the markets. But you got to also remember, I think if this next crash happens to be because of Tether, then central banks will probably use that themselves to get in at a very high rate so that they can also be a part of this game if they're not already. So I wouldn't be surprised for a silver paper correction, they lose control of the silver market, and then of course Bitcoin crashes and it comes right back up. But at this current moment, your greatest threat is your national currency. So no matter what, they're going to continue to pump more reserves, point more units into the system, and all that cash is going to go looking for somewhere to rest. And it's going to be crypto, it's going to be metals, real estate, it's going to be all those non-correlated debt instruments, which I wouldn't say that Bitcoin is going away anytime soon, even though I'm not out here promoting or preaching it. But we're so long in this that I think it's going to have some more, a lot more room to go up because of all the paper and the currencies.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. You do a good show.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate you.
Have a good one.
You have a good one. Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. So I appreciate the call, man. So I'll take this last call and then we'll get it dialed back. It's always good to hear from everybody. Let's see what we got here. Let me see here. Got a call here. Let me get them on here. All right. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Oakland. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, my friend. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. We got to stop protecting the law, man. I keep telling everybody that, and everybody thinks I'm crazy.
Say it again.
Bitcoin, you seen what Bitcoin did. In a matter of an hour, it dropped 10,000 points.
Yeah.
10,000 points.
Yeah.
Or 1,000 points. Sorry, 1,000 points.
No. It was about 10,000. It was 58, and we got out of 47, so about 11-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I stand to be corrected then. But no one's going to have that as a reserve currency dropping like that.
Right.
It has no intrinsic value except peer-to-peer, what it was designed for.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're talking something that's pumped double in the last month, close to double in the last month.
Yeah.
And the government still hasn't said anything about it, and they talking about they getting Elon Musk out there, they're getting all their front people out there to say it's a good thing, which goes back to what I said before. What happens when your government decides to take on Bitcoin and do away with the dollar?
What
happens to those bonds? What happens to those pensions?
kiss them goodbye officially. Like, they're going out the window right now as we speak. But yeah, it could. I don't know if it'd be an overnight type of thing, but no matter what, they're going to be reneged upon anyway. So whether it's going to be slow or fast, I hope everyone realizes that there's no future in any of those promises because they can't live up to them. So.
No, what they'll do is they'll just move them all into Bitcoin. Then, at some point in time, nobody's going to want our currency, and our currency's in Bitcoin.
What about the Fed coin, man? How the Federal Reserve going to control that?
And anything they do is fiat.
Yeah.
So, and there's only one fiat reserve currency. We already had our chance. We're not re-upping anything. It's a free fall for us. We just don't know it.
Yeah. So the good thing is, not a good thing, but those that are awake and aware, i.e. the people who are in alternative media space that realize the current environment we're in now, they're aware. And so thank God a lot of those people have been taking precautionary measures in form of preparing via silver and gold and, of course, speculating in the crypto space. But it's the other 99.99% that has no clue that are going to be on the outside looking in a sense of not having any many options, man. So what are your thoughts on this inflation stuff, man?
What happened to them today?
What's that?
People were trying to move ETH, and they had to shut down. Of course, people say there's other alternatives to move the ETH, but how many of those people know those other alternatives? Most of those got those on the exchanges anyway. It's like, I just keep it on the exchange. Well, that's the dumbest move you can make.
No doubt. And watch this, because Ethereum dropped, $300 or so in the last 48 hours. That was the ultimate rush to get in. And so Ethereum, of course, has more utility than Bitcoin. So Ethereum will, it's more valuable overall with its problems than Bitcoin, I believe. And so I think the reason Binance shut down is because people are trying to buy that dip and they don't have it like that. So they shut it down and made an excuse.
Let people know that anytime the cryptos crash, it crashed 80%.
Yeah.
They don't crash 1 or 2%. They crash 80%. So be prepared.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, man, appreciate your call, my friend. I'll see you in the Discord chat, man. I'm about to get ready to log off.
Yes, sir.
All right, be good.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, people. Yeah, man, it's good stuff. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with me. And definitely, if you enjoyed the back and forth and getting a chance to hang out in the community and share your 2 cents, definitely hit that thumbs up button. Show your support for the channel. And I appreciate the love offering for financial education today. Thank you for being a blessing to the channel. Make sure you connect on the Discord, man, and connect with us over there. Let me see. So Shane here on Facebook says Bitcoin's intrinsic value is as a medium of exchange, unit of account, and a store of value over time. Shane, I can ride with that, man. I'm not against that at this current moment, given the current weaponization of all fiat currencies. Holding anything outside of your national currency can be a store of value and a medium of exchange. Hell, a pack of cigarettes, in dire times can be a medium of exchange and a store of value as well. So, the greatest threat is your national currency. And so I can dig that, man. And what else? Anyway, that's all she wrote for tonight, people. If you've enjoyed the back and forth, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure if you guys are interested, become a part of the Patreon group. We're going to go Wednesday about 9:30ish. We usually have those 2-hour long talks of unfiltered talking about, the jab and every politics and everything, you name it. So I want to make sure encourage you guys to join us over there. But other than that, it's been great. And I will see you guys on the flip side. Peace.